First of all, again, welcome to the realm, Lilith. Happy to have you here. But talk to me about her weapon. Let's start off with that because it's very unique.
Yes.
Heart of Crimson, Alex. What's going on with her weapon?
Yeah, so the Heart of Crimson you can see is this kind of little puzzle box like. It's really beautiful, kind of mysterious, right? But this was gifted to her by the Abyss. And so what this is it's a weapon that is going to shoot out some of that channeled blood energy. It kind of has this big piercing shot. Right now she has 4 ammunition. That's max, right? So you really need to land your shots with these. But they do a pretty hefty amount of damage, around 625 per shot. And that can be affected by a few things. But you can actually gain some of that ammunition back too. But right now that box, and you can see how beautiful it looks like when it reloads, the spinning heart. This is just kind of like where she draws a lot of her power from, right? And that's where she's going to be hitting people from all of the time. And it's, you know, as the lore implies, she kind of draws blood and energy from those that she kills and wounds, and it kind of is trapped in that box right there. That Heart of Crimson.
Definitely.
When this first came in the playtests, like I reloaded just for fun because I really like the way that turned out. It's a very cool weapon and a very cool animation we got.
Right, and we went through quite a few variations, and once the box was kind of promoted and everyone looked at it, it was kind of like, yeah, that's what we're going with.
Awesome. Well, I apologize because I skipped over a point. I'm looking at the health bar.
Yeah,
it's very unique. What's happening with her health?
Something different there.
Yeah, so actually, this is a big part of her kit. So she is a support, like I said. Her base health, again, without cards, is 750, but she has that red bar, what we're just going to call her blood health. And right now, that is sitting at around 2,500. And so when Lilith is attacked, that blood health will be hit first. Think of it like a permanent shield, or it is her health. But she's also going to use that blood health to cast some of her abilities, and we'll get into that. But it also means that she is going to regain that blood health by using her blood hex, by using her swarm ability. But she also needs to cast with that same blood health. So if you're hitting Lilith a lot and you're damaging her and you get her low, it's going to be a little harder for her to use some of her abilities because it's tied in with her health.
That's a very interesting gameplay loop, and I'm super excited to go a little bit deeper as we talk about that blood hex, which is the alt fire. Fish, talk to me about what's going on with that.
So the blood hex is kind of an interesting complement to the rest of the kit. It does not draw on the blood pool. It's one of her few abilities that do not draw on it, and it applies a mark. You can apply it to an ally, or you can apply it to an enemy. If you apply it to an ally, we're going to see these swarm of bats, and they're going to heal them over time. If you apply it to an enemy, it's going to damage them over time instead. And either way, because it's not drawing from her blood pool, and those ticks are filling it, you're going to use this you're going to weave it in between the other abilities to make sure you still have health to not die and this blood health to cast from. So it's a very cool thing. It also reveals an enemy to Lilith only while they are marked.
Ah, nice.
Yeah, and it does, for that blood mark, it actually does a 2%, but it does a max percent of their health damage. So you can actually never kill someone with the blood mark, but you're always going to be taking just a percent of their max health. So it has more damaging effects, right, the higher health they are.
Great. Awesome. So you definitely want to kick things off. Your engages with this.
Yeah, a lot of times you'll mark and then try to hit them with your primary, stuff like that.
Right, and actually what I had mentioned before is the kind of fun interaction is when you mark an enemy, only an enemy, and you hit them with your in-hand fire, you will actually get a refund of that ammunition. So if you're landing your shots on marked enemies, you're not consuming ammo.
Oh, that's awesome. I love how the alt fire and the main fire work together like that. Well, let's move on to some of the abilities. The first ability we've got, ability 1, is Death Wings. Alex, what's going on with this one?
So this is how Lilith is going to kind of like fly into the battle zone, right? Like she has these bat-like qualities, and we wanted to add that in with this movement ability. So Death Wings is a movement ability. She leaps into the air, but instead of just coming right back down, she actually gains a decent amount of air control, and she floats down gently almost. This is something that becomes really cool for repositioning, for tagging that ally that's a little far away, and you can see those beautiful blood wings.
Yeah.
So this is just really cool because you see her, everything about her is very graceful, and she kind of glides through the battlefield, and it fits so perfectly. This does consume blood health. And we'll have those final numbers eventually, but right now this does consume some of your blood health, so you want to be cognizant of that when you're in the battlefield. The cool thing about this is that you can actually reactivate the ability in air, And what it does is it slams down onto the ground. So maybe you jump into the air and you're like, I'm taking too much fire. I'm going to hit it again, and you're going to go straight down and deal a little bit of damage.
Nice.
It's just a little more escapability, right? That idea, like this bat swooping down. So, you know, she's going to be up in the air. She's going to be floating, but you can always reactivate it at no extra blood cost to get down to the ground really quickly.
Awesome. So yeah, definitely a great escape, but also it could be an interesting engage if you want to fly in, slam down, kind of start off the team fight. That's awesome. Ability 2 is going to be Swarm. Fish, talk to me about Swarm. What's happening with this one?
Sure. So what you're doing with Swarm is you're kind of designated an area, and that area is going to be good for your team. You're getting heals in there, and it's going to be bad for the enemy. And one of the interesting things about it is you can actually channel this by holding this ability button or key longer. It's going to strengthen it, so you can have a weak, a medium, or a strong version of this. It's a really powerful AoE heal over time. You can throw it on a capture point. You can throw it around the cart and really give your team some survivability. And then if you're hitting those, that's going to help build up your blood pool again as well.
Yeah.
Yep. A lot of fun with that.
Yeah, we can see the driver here. Our very nice Tambo is getting everything set up so that we can actually see some of these damaging numbers, healing numbers, things like that. And there you go. You can see that channeling. And the channeling does a lot more health. But like any ability that's kind of this pool that's cast on the ground, you know, your team has to also be like, hey, get inside, please. Please heal.
Definitely. You've got to direct them. So this is where we start seeing some of the support aspects of our kid coming in with the heal.
And you can see also that ability uses the most of her blood health.
Yep.
It will also, if you play it properly, you can get a lot of it back almost instantly if you play it right. But if you kind of whiff it, or if you put it somewhere that's maybe not great, like you're using a decent amount of your blood health. So just, remember that. Yep.
For sure. All right. It's time for the grand finale, the ultimate ability, Blood Moon. Alex, walk us through Lilith's ultimate.
Okay. So yes, again, Lilith being this kind of the heartless, this queen of the night type of character, right? She's always looking to make the battlefield, you know, she wants it to her advantage and her team's advantage. She's a healer. So this is a global wide ult, or it's a map wide ult. What this is going to do is it's going to actually cover the battlefield in this blood moon. So it kind of everything takes on this sickly red and black hues. It's very creepy for the enemy team. And during this, Lilith's team can actually gain pure life rip. And so what we mean by that, and this is a new effect we added, your team gets 35% life rip. It can't be cauterized. So if I hit an enemy with my in-hand bullet as anyone on Lilith's team, I'm getting 35% life rip automatically. And that lasts for 8 seconds. So that's the team-wide buff. For Lilith herself, she's actually going to have increased movement speed, health regen, and she can jump way higher and more often, right? So reduce the cooldown on the jump. So essentially she's moving around a lot. You can tell this is from her perspective. You get this cool kind of blood effect. She's moving. She's just real aggressive in this state. But your team is going to be getting that 35% life rip. And then for the enemy team, it might be a little hard here to see, but it will become really cool, red and black, and it really has this kind of beautiful effect. Also, it's very creepy on the battlefield, so I want people to see that. Think of it like a Mayvault, just less intense.
Ah, okay. Awesome. Yeah, and I think I saw a note from Tambo there. It looks like we won't be able to see the enemy perspective just yet. I'll sync with our community team and see maybe we can tweet out a video or something a little bit later on today ahead of PTS, so you all can check out how this thing is going to be looking. But that is Lilith in a nutshell as far as her ability and her kit is concerned. But we've got some talents that we definitely want to walk through. Let's start off with the default talent. It's going to be Cursed Accord. What's happening with this one?
Yeah, this is the first talent. This is your default talent. This is just the one, like, I want to heal more, maybe deal a little less damage, but I'm going to be just concentrating on healing. So what this does is it decreases the damage output across all of your abilities. Your Blood Hex, your Swarm, and your in-hand fire. You're just dealing a little less damage. But what that's going to give you is a higher healing output as well as a decreased blood cost on those abilities.
Okay.
So you want to be able to, with this talent, if I want to cast my healing Swarm more, I just want to heal more in general, I want to fly around more, this is the talent for you. Again, you're not going to be super aggressive, but this is the player that's like, I want to pocket or I want to support my team fully. That's what Cursed Accord is going to do for you.
Really lean into that support role for her.
Yes, for sure. Definitely. Her level 2 talent is Maelstrom of Carnage. What's happening with this talent?
Sure. So for that, she's enhancing her swarm ability. So she is increasing the radius. She is lowering the cooldown. But it is also attaching to her. She's no longer casting at a distance. It's always on her, and that means it will move with her. So you really play a lot differently because now you have to be the radius. So if you're having trouble positioning it such that your allies are going to go into it, you can just go to them. But it's taking away that range element and then enhancing all the other parts of it to really get value out of that swarm.
Oh yeah, this is awesome. I love the talent system in Paladins because it allows you to play to your play style, right? So if you want to play default with this, and be point control and put your ability on the point, that's fine. You go with that. But you can choose this talent. I'm going to play with my team. We're going to be team fight focused, and we're going to move as a unit.
Yeah.
So moving on to this last talent, Murderous Intent. What's going on with this one?
Yeah, so this one is her I'm aggressive talent. What this does is it's going to now make her in-hand weapon shot, those blood bullets or those blood spear, whatever you want to call it, like they will now pierce enemies. And for each pierce shot that it does, it deals 90 more damage. So this is just your typical, like, this thing just got really sharp, right? Like, I'm now hitting enemies. And this also procs off of deployables, and it procs off of other, I think, like pets, things like that. So you can hit enemies that are further away too. This has no damage fall off on this one. So the base one does have a slight damage fall off, but this has no damage fall off. But the only downside is that it's a little smaller, right? So it's like there's always a little bit of give and take. And kind of to your point, talents are an interesting point in Paladins to give players different ways to kind of attack the game. And this one is like, the shots are a little harder, so they're a little bit smaller. They're not as large, but you're piercing now, and they have no fall off.
I played a lot with this one in playtest, and if I recall correctly, there are several cards that you can build that interact with this, so it's a fun synergy if you really want to lean into the style.
This is awesome. Well, I believe that wraps it up for Lilith and her kit and her talents, but we've got some awesome cosmetics and recolors coming with Lilith when this update goes live. Oh yeah, before we get it, I'm getting ahead of myself. Voice lines. We definitely want to hear what she sounds like. Let's listen to some of the voice lines for Lilith.
Her debut.
Your blood will pair beautifully with my evening meal. How gory. The night embraces you. Blood.
Nice. That's the
I
one.
want to suck your blood. You know me. I'm such a
that get in
pain
there?
in the neck.
Post-process makes her give